Hi, my name is Ngina, one half of the Disruptors, and today we're here with Youth Plus Africa on Connect One on One with Amos.
Thank you for having me. My name is
Anytime.
Amos Ngahu. Um, you want to know what I do?
Yes.
I do a lot of things. First of all, for close to 2 decades now, I've been a financial coach. I'm also an accredited mediator, a trainer, an author, and yes, I think that's all.
You sound like a jack of all trades. So I'll take you back to the very beginning. What was life like growing up, and how did it shape who you are today?
Hey, let me sit nicely. I mean, I've not been asked this question for a very long time, but I was born in Umoja. That time it was just one Umoja. When it was a posh place, then we relocated to the village that is somewhere in Oljororok. I'm not Masai. That is somewhere in Nyandaro County, and grew up there. Kawaida. You're going to the farm. That time there used to be pyrethrum, by the way. Pyrethrum is that thing that makes insecticide. So started school there. We studied mother tongue. So I'm very eloquent in my mother tongue. And grew up. Then at some point we moved to Thika, probably mid primary school life, and that's how my life has been. Yeah. So one of the things I remember is, going to pick pyrethrum and playing in the valleys where we would slide all the way down. Yeah, those were the highlights.
Your childhood seems very fun.
Yes.
So, what was the first moment you realized that you wanted to create something that would leave an impact?
Wow. I think it's much later after discovering my purpose. But if you tell me to tell you when it started, I think it started when my race, because I started running away from poverty early, early in my teenage. So you had to run away. So I bumped into what I do. I won't lie to you that it was something that was planned. Yeah. So I think probably much later in life that when I meet strangers and they're like, or people like Ngina who don't know you, but they follow you somewhere, they've interacted with your content. And the more you get feedback, the more you're like, okay, I'm serving my purpose. Then I want to leave a legacy in this particular field.
You've just mentioned that you were trying to run away from poverty from
Yeah.
your teenage years.
Yes.
Please expound on that.
Well, I was not brought up in a well-off family, just kawaida, middle income. But because we were many, so finances sometimes would be a challenge. So after high school, I realized we don't have hopes of doing, of studying then. So I had to start with odd jobs. And I remember very well that the funniest job that I ever got fired was a construction site. I was working as a KYM, those guys who will ferry either the wheelbarrow, push it from the swamp to bring water, or carry the stones up to the main fundis. And I was fired. Can you imagine? I've never felt so useless. So that's why I started. So I said I don't want to be broke anymore to a point where you're being fired in a construction site. So I've tried so many things until I got myself to where I am. Yeah.
So, after construction worker, what else did you
Yeah,
do?
I sold ladies' shoes, and that didn't go very well. I sold insurance. Didn't go very. It did well, but it actually paved the way for what I do, because now you're able to sit down with people, understand their needs, and help them invest. Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, how do you stay motivated through all these things? You've mentioned you're a construction worker. And then now you sold ladies' shoes. And then at some point, you now became a mediator, an author. How do you stay motivated?
There are a couple of things. I think, and this may not, I'm putting a disclaimer, this may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I think for me, I attribute a lot of motivation from basketball, which I started when I was very young at 14. Up to now, I still play. Yeah, they call me Steph Curry. Okay, you'll get that later. But but there's something about life that is very similar to basketball. And for me, it has, first of all, it helped me because I was as much as we had a lot of fun, I was a very dull child. I was a very sickly child. I had bad eyes. I was always feeling like I was the problem. Then I was very short. Then growing tall and playing basketball kind of grew my confidence. Even in high school, two girls would be like, hey, number 8. So it kind of builds your confidence. And then when you later realize that you're really talented, and the teams you've played for, playing in teams and growing together, you realize that you have something unique in you. And that is the confidence I brought now to the business world. So a lot of it comes from that. And now, of course, family. I have 2 sons, and you can imagine even the times when times are hard and you want to give up, you look at who is watching, and they are busy there, looking at you, so you can't give up. And most importantly, God has always showed me that everything you've gone through has a purpose. Because I wouldn't be telling people and encouraging people who are now struggling financially. I wouldn't be encouraging them if I haven't gone through the same. You get my point?
Yes.
So I've found purpose in every high, every low in my life. And that has been the ultimate purpose that God has for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really insightful. So now let's get into your money journey, because you're an entrepreneur and you've said you give advice to very different people because you know how that has been. So how has been your money journey, especially in the 20 years that you've been an entrepreneur, and what are the different factors that have affected or have helped?
Well, I must say, for me, and it's hard for people to believe this, but mostly for me, it has been a learning process since I started. I came to realize that one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that no one is an idiot. Everybody knows what to do with their money. In fact, being an author, I could be recommending my book, but I want to recommend this book called The Psychology of Money. The whole first chapter talks about no one is an idiot. Everybody knows what they need to do with their money. So it's about your attitudes. It's about your behavior when you have money. Because actually you don't need Amos to talk to you about budgeting. You can Google and do that. So one of the biggest lessons I learned is that people know what they need to do, but why aren't they doing it? What is ailing in between? That's where we realize that it was more of attitude and behavior. It's like even soccer. Our goal is to win. We know we need to score a goal, isn't it? That is why you need a coach to give you a strategy, but the coach will never play.
Yeah.
I hope you're not a Man U fan. But anyway.
I am.
But anyway, that is one of the lessons I've learned. One of the things that has contributed is relationships with people. Like what we're doing here. Probably someone will pick a lesson from here and apply. So a lot of platforms, TV, radio, podcasts like these ones that have invited me to just share 1 or 2 things that people can be able to apply has really helped. The biggest challenge is that there are threats actually to what we do, financial literacy, which you've seen, it's actually out there. That is betting and digital loans that are messing people, and they are fighting us. So we are like, you cannot lend money to people out of poverty. You cannot do that. You cannot keep asking people to bet. Hope is not a strategy.
Yeah.
So those have been some of the dangers that we've seen in our economy, and especially with the young people. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, but most importantly for me to learn. Yeah.
Okay. It shouldn't necessarily be something that happened in your entrepreneurial journey. It could be social, it could be spiritual, it could be emotional. But what is that one pivotal moment in your life that made you feel like, yeah, this is where we're changing course, we're going this direction, we're going to take this, and we're going to take this other thing?
I don't, there's no particular pivotal point. For me, I think it has been a slow but a steady curve. As you get affirmation, as you get to meet people. So for me, I will say it has been a process, and a process of discovering who you are, because some of them have been very painful, some shameful, but some wins have been very satisfying. So every time you go out, I'll give you an example. Today I was in a certain show, earlier. And they were awarding some of the guys who won some prizes. And I didn't know the producer follows, not just the producer, even the host. And they were like, there's something you said this day that made me look at my finances differently. For me, that is confirmation of what you're doing is in the right path. So you get that a lot. Someone will stop you. So you're probably, rolling down your window in traffic. Someone says hi. You're like, hey, you said this. So for me, it has been a process of understanding that this is the course we are taking. So for me, it's relationships and money. How can we be able to help people bring out, the best of their finances in their active years? Yeah. So it's not like one particular point. Yeah.
With the 2 decades you've been in business or you've been running and doing all these things, how has social media played?
Yeah, I know you wouldn't believe this, but I've only been on social media for the last 2.5 years. I mean, having done all those things, can you imagine training and telling people? I keep telling people, it's like winking at a girl in the dark. You're the only one who knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
But social media came to amplify. And I remember how we started. I have a team of young people, and one of them was like, you see that thing you said? We will capture it and throw it on TikTok. And within no time, I think a week, 10,000 followers. And guys were like, give us more. That is how the journey started. Then someone discovered me on TikTok. Then they shared on their Instagram. I think in a day I got 8,000 followers. So it kept growing. So social media has been a major contributor for people to have that, those short videos, for you to have a personal reflection. It is now paying, because now once a brand wants to work with you, they will pay you. That's why I'm being called now an influencer, which is quite rewarding, because for small videos you get paid. And so it's been a major influence in terms of you also getting feedback outside there. So for me, social media has been a big plus.
Interesting. So what message or legacy do you want to leave behind for the next generation, or even for your kids?
Well, I have 2 interesting boys. The last one is the one who probably has my traits, but the elder one is too organized, just like the mom. And one of the biggest disaster I can do is force him to do what I do. But remember, I have a legacy. I have a whole, I have a whole empire to establish. So the best way to cheat on death, because I have to cheat on death, is to invest in the immediate next generation. And immediate next generation is not my sons.
Yeah.
Are people your age. You get my point?
Yes.
So I have young men that I'm mentoring to do what I do. Are we together? So that by the time my kids are also getting there, they have an option. They can just be shareholders and move on to their own stuff. I do not want to be a derailer of purpose for my kids. And I think for us, even as you try to leave a legacy for yourself, think long term. Think outside your family. You understand?
Yeah.
You have to think outside your family, because we have a lot of ground to cover. Can you imagine now if I'm just relying on my son alone to spread financial literacy across sub-Saharan Africa? Yet there are contacts I can be able to set up in DRC, in Ghana, and we spread, because our problems in sub-Saharan Africa are common. Okay? So for us to leave a legacy, let's not be selfish. Don't just look at what you can amass for yourself. Look at what you can leave for. That's why they talk about generations. Generations. We are not talking about your family. That's too small.
Yeah.
So your vision should actually go beyond your family. Yeah.
I like that. In your career, what was a very humbling moment? Not necessarily bad, but something humbling. It could have been someone younger or whoever that really inspired you, and you left the place humbled. So yeah, what was a humbling moment?
Well, let me talk about 2 moments. One of them was bad, where you go broke, you have to relocate, and someone younger than you, they don't even have a driving license, but they are laughing, telling you, hey, you went broke, you're now driving a small car. It was quite humbling. The other one was earlier this year, which we won. There was an award for most influential men in Kenya 2024. That was so humbling. And I was amongst the top 50. So again, it really, out of all the people in Kenya, why would I be selected? So it was also quite humbling. And also to interact with men who are doing much, much more. Like there was a guy interpreting CBC in various languages to the local child. That was so humbling. So those have been the two humbling moments for me. Yeah.
As an influencer in Kenya and with everything else that you do, how's the Kenyan space been like for you?
When it comes to selling knowledge, it's a hard sell. When it comes to selling gossip and nonsense, lack of a better word, that one sells faster.
Yeah.
So you'll find, for me, I've made peace with growing my following organically. That you're only here because you're benefiting from my knowledge, and you can easily be able to be converted into an internal client if we have events or we have something that could benefit you. Yeah.
What is something you hope the Kenyan space will get to? Maybe even after you've gone. What is something you hope for the Kenyan space?
That's interesting because it's the same problems we are going through political. And I feel like I hope would be more intentional about information that is helpful. There are things you might say casually here, and someone, if interpreted to their language, could actually transform a whole village. So what if we are more intentional? What we are talking here can be translated and say, we have people who have land. It's barely raining. The weather is inconsistent, and they're able to start projects that can benefit them. So I wish we were more intentional about our content, not just throwing, for lack of a better word, rubbish around.
Yeah. Okay. If you could go back and talk to that young boy who was fired from the construction site, what would you tell him?
I tell them it is painful, but hang on. It's a season. I don't think I'd change anything. I'd be more than excited to face the same challenges, if not more, because I think that is what has made me who I am today. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you envision for yourself and your career? Next 3, 5, 10 years?
Oh yeah, the go-to platform for financial literacy across Africa. Yeah. And just Africa. Yeah. We want to bring out the best in our people. Yeah. I want, when I die, someone in Zambia is mourning, someone I've never met, just like I mourned when Kobe died. He had no idea who I was, but I want to be that. I want to leave that impact. Yeah. Money will come. Yeah. But I'm content with reaching the entire Africa. Yeah.
You've mentioned the word contentment.
Yes.
And I think it's something that has been I've seen across your content, that you want people to learn how to be more content.
Yes.
Why do you think that's very important?
There's this verse Christians love quoting. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That is Philippians 4:13. One of the things that people fail to do is understand the whole context. Paul is telling the Philippians that I have been through lack, I have been through plenty. I'm not saying this because I have a lot. I'm saying this because I've gone through lack and through plenty. And I have found and mastered the art of contentment. Therefore, I can do all things.
Yeah.
So what that tells you, if you are content, you will not, as long as you see there's a difference between being mediocre and being content. Contentment is different. I have been called to do something. I have done my best. I am okay with the results, whether good or bad. Are we together?
Yeah.
If we can get to that place, and this is an appeal to men, if we can be able, and I did that video the other day, if we can wake up every day, commit, you can never fail if you've done your best. Trust God with your best. Let it be according to his plan. Then that contentment is a luxury, is so valuable. Yes, because you'll not be under pressure to do anything. Yeah.
Okay, and now as we wrap up, you have mentioned that you'd tell your younger self to continue pushing with all the challenges. You'd still have them even more.
Yes.
What has been the most rewarding thing about your career?
A hello from a stranger. Like, I follow your stuff, thank you. For me, that is more rewarding than any money I've ever made. Yeah. You do you know what that does to you? Have you ever gotten lost and someone tells you, hata hujapotea ni hapa?
Oh yeah, especially in town.
You
Yeah,
get my
feel
point.
like, oh, yeah.
You are following direction, you're looking for something, but then you're in the right space. So I'm very big on purpose. I used to walk around because even after when I was busy being fired in a construction site, my colleagues were in campus. You get my point?
Yeah.
We were living in Juja, so I used to play basketball in Jaikwat. They are so excited to have a player. They're thinking I'm a student. Until the day we are going for the trip, they are like, hey, what's your idea? I'm like, I'm not a student. Then they're like, you can't play. Why are you even here? You get my point?
Yeah.
So now, over time, going through all these things have made me realize that everything has a purpose. And it's about the bigger purpose that I have. So now when you get confirmation, I even get feedback from guys abroad, whatever you're doing, keep doing. Then that is what also now gives you business. Most of my business comes from a DM. Hey, we are this organization, we want you to come. That's how I make my money. So I'll tell you what, it is a hello from a stranger.
A hello from a stranger.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. It sounds so small,
Yeah.
but it's very powerful. So you can tell the audience something small, like you can advise them. Yes.
Yeah, they can subscribe to my channels anyway. I'm kidding.
Yes, they should. They should.
I think in modern day, we are not limited to information. What is ailing us is our lack of seriousness or our lack of being intentional about every money decision you make. So why don't you just be intentional, even as we cross over to the new year, that you can be very intentional about every decision. Subscribe to something. I'm not the only one talking about money in this country. We have most of my colleagues who are doing an excellent job. Subscribe to something. That money you use for entertainment, say I'm using 5,000 to like subscribe to a program. I have a program like that. But make sure you're intentional, because once you're intentional, at some point you'll not need us. You'll not need a coach, because now you'll have mastered what works for you. So I'll tell you, be intentional. And remember, money does not stay where it is needed. It stays where it is respected.
Money does not stay where it's needed. It stays where it's respected. That's okay. Wow. There you have it. This was Amos. Remember to be intentional, be content, and have a purpose. This was Connect One-on-One with Youth Plus Africa. See you next time.